I think I should make a disclaimer for this video immediately. If you are not a car geek, or if you are not into Rovers or Rover 45s, then please, this is not the video that you need to be watching. But if you do, then this is the perfect video. I've been interested in Rovers for many years, but I don't actually really know an awful lot about the post SD1 Rovers. Although I've learned quite a bit since I bought that Rover 45, but nothing specific about Rover 45s. There's quite a few things that I'm not aware of, and I thought it'd be the perfect opportunity to actually look at a brochure, the correct brochure for my car, and I've just bought one for very little money whatsoever. It's absolutely mint condition. It's like it's been kept in a wallet all its life, which is fantastic. And I've got this thing when I buy a car. I need to get a brochure from the time it was made. I don't know why, but I just like to have the brochure to look at it, learn, because you do learn a lot from them. Specifically the specs and what you can buy and what maybe my car doesn't have or what it does have that makes it interesting. And also the fact that it can go in a lovely leather binder with all the paperwork, and that's what I've been doing recently. I mean, this is what you want, a leather binder full of useful information, some of which I can't show to you, but you've got everything there. And that's what I do with all my cars, a nice leather binder and tons of paperwork, something that may be something quite rare in the future, given that now we live in a digital age with digital car histories, everything's online, nothing's done on paper. But you know, you'd be amazed when you buy car parts and go to specific places like to have your alloys refurbished, or I don't know, to have some powder coating, whatever it is, or some head skimming for a start, or whatever it is, you'll be amazed at the amount of paperwork that you can actually collect over a short space of time. And I've certainly probably added about 50% of this in 6 months ownership, given all the parts I've bought. Naturally, that was what was going to happen. But now we're going to look at the brochure, which is inside this binder. And here we have the front cover. My car is an October 2004 registration. Now, if anyone who knows more about Rovers than I do, which you may also do so, how do I go about finding the build date of my 45? Is it a series of numbers that are secreted amongst the car, or is it a question of going to a specific website with my VIN number, which is in, you know, it's located in the front windscreen. There's a couple of other places it's located, and just finding out from that if I direct it to the right place? Because I'd love to find out the build date. You know, the registration date was in October, but the build date is usually 2 months before that. I mean, I've known some cars to be registered within about 15 days of being built, and then some take months. My Focus Mark 1 took months. So it really just depends. And obviously we've got 100 years there with the new Rover badge, which some people don't like. I quite like it. I think it would have been an absolute fine badge for many years to come if the company hadn't gone into administration. And we've got the new look, the unmistakable style of Rover. Well, I would say it's actually a mistakable style, because a lot of people argue that these late ones lost their identity. They lost the Rover identity by getting rid of the classic 75 front, with these headlamps look very similar to what BMW were doing in the mid-noughties. Very modern, but it kind of like didn't look like a Rover as such. And I think the rear end of the car is just as bad. Distinctive new level of refinement. Interesting. Oh, well, this is immediate fraud. I mean, I love this colour. I can't remember what this colour is. We're going to find out at the back. Again, this trim remains the same regardless of what colour it is. While mine, you can't tell that it's a completely different colour, because obviously it's silver and the rest of my car is silver. But I really do like this grey. I think it suits the Mark II 45s a lot, particularly the saloons. Obviously, you got the bigger boot, and obviously the saloon version, as far as I know, for the 45 and the Rover 400 HHR, was a Rover thing. the hatchback was a complete Honda thing from the Honda Domini. That's another story for another day. But that's fraud. No, that's fraud. Because I've never seen one with a bumper that sits that close to the body. Now, to be fair, most are better than mine, but I've never seen them so nice. So, and also the door handles, they're not falling off. That's another one. But no, I'm only joking. A restyled front and rear, the car's more clean and defined and cleaner profile. The remodeled deep front grille and highly distinctive two clear lens headlights heightens the sense of presence. I think it detracts the sense of presence personally. I think the presence was with the previous one, but I like this. It just it looks a bit plain, and I think I'm not alone there. However, I've got these lovely wheels, and I think these are the best ones to have on a 45, of which mine are going to get refurbed. You've got the 2-litre turbo diesel as well. A 2-litre turbo diesel and refinement do not go in the same sentence, because I believe it's referring to the L series. I've driven one with an L series very briefly, and yeah, they're great engines, but they're not refined. Yep, that's my car. Oh no, it isn't, because he's got front fogs. So presumably that's the saloon as well, because I believe that the hatchbacks didn't get fog lights. We'll find that out in a bit. You've got all these nice little design touches. Obviously, you've got that, and you've got the lip. I like the lip. I actually quite like it. It's not plain. It's not over the top. It's subtle. And that's what you want for the standard models. And I love the chrome door handles. Interesting. Love it. I mean, to be fair, this... Actually, I believe that the saloon was released in 1996 with these lights, the 400 saloon. And then the Rover 75 basically had almost identical rear lights. I think this is a plain design. I think it looks a little bit... It makes me think of the boy racers who like the flushed boot. By moving the number plate from there to there, it just looks a bit plain. They had to, it's like with Rover, they had to space the letters out so far to just make up the space, because they didn't know what to stick on the boot. I mean, you couldn't just have 45 on the boot. I mean, that looks stupid. I do like the parking sensors. What a lovely feature that you can only get on a Mark II. I mean, I think you can get them on a Mark I, but I think it was an option, and not many people took it up. Thank you very much, camera, for not focusing. But you've got, strong line of performers. The 2-litre turbo diesel comes with 101 brake horsepower and 113. Anybody know what you had to do to get 113? Was that specifically for the saloon cars where they needed a tiny bit more? I don't know. See, I don't know about that either. And then obviously you've got the 1.4, 1.6 and 1.8 petrol units. The 1.4 was the original K series, but obviously they bought it out to 1.6 and 1.8. From what I've been told by various people, there's not much difference between the 1.6 and 1.8 in terms of how they actually drive. And then obviously you have the 6-speed step speed with, well, they say 6-speed. It's a CVT with 6 speeds programmed into the computer. And so it's actually quite a clever little gearbox. Apparently you could convert it to LPG. All the petrol engines. That's interesting. 50% on environmental benefit, 50% on fuel costs without compromising response, power, torque. I don't know, because everyone I've met who's had an LPG conversion has always said the petrol engines actually lose a bit of grunt after you've done the conversion. Not much, but it's noticeable if you actually are into car and you understand how it drives. Now, I like this colour. I've seen this 1 or 2 times. Again, I don't know what this colour is. I'm going to find out today. That's a nice example. Yeah. You can tell that they were pushing the connoisseur things, because if you didn't get chrome door mirrors, door capping, sorry, on any other model than the connoisseur. And I want my alloys to actually have the Rover badge looking very nice indeed. Yeah, That's what mine's going to look like. Again, retro dials. I like it. I like it. Oh, handling to stimulate. Yeah, double wishbones at the front and multi-link at the rear. And it takes out the road's natural undulations and camber changes in its stride. An unusually long wheelbase for the class means big car stability and a level ride. I will argue that as much as this car was pitted against a Mark 1 Focus, which was one of the main reasons that this car was just undone in terms of sales, the fact that it has such a long wheelbase gives me the impression that it's supposed to be competing with a Mondeo, but it's not quite Mondeo size. I think this is the problem with Rover 45s. They were they didn't really have a class to compete with. They were in a class of their own. Hey, that's a good one. In a class of their own. But yeah, I can't wait to actually get behind the wheel and actually feel what this. Well, basically, it's a Honda rear suspension from, I think, the late 80s. I have done a little bit of research about that because it's identical to what was on an R8 at the back. Identical, apart from the fact that it doesn't have an anti-roll bar. I believe that was deleted in 2003. Project Drive again. Lovely, lovely. Hopefully mine will come out that nice once I've finished wet sanding it. No indentations there. Lovely. Very nice indeed. I'm not a massive fan of the saloons. I prefer the hatch, even though I would say it does look a bit notchy and a little bit truncated at the back. And I think the saloon kind of makes it a bit more balanced. But nevertheless, it's a nice design. And I wouldn't say no. Economy L series 50 mpg on a combined cycle. Hey, the days before Dieselgate where you could actually just fake what mpg that you can achieve. If you've got an L series 45, can you actually achieve 50 mpg on a combined cycle? And that's basically town driving and a bit of everything, basically. 50 mpg. Might just be about 240 newton meters of torque. Well, that's more than Ford TDDI engines, I can tell you. I think it's just a little bit more. That's really interesting. There's no accelerator cable. It's a what is it? Throttle, live by wire throttle. Yeah, drive by wire. Drive by wire. Silly me. Interesting. And it has a cat. The cat on the diesels. Okay. Maybe that was kind of standard back then. As I say, diesels are not my thing either. Lovely. That's how mine's going to look. I hope to God. Ignore the floodlight. Look at that badge. The badge hasn't worn away. And we come to my car, the automatic that lets you take control. A good automatic transmission is hard to beat when you take the strain out of driving. They can't predict the need to change down. Because you're about to make a swift overtaker maneuver. That's what you get with torque converter automatics. There's slip, there's delay. They can't read your mind when you're enjoying a twisted country road, but with the Rover 45's new step speed, you can rewrite the rules. Fitted as an option on the 1.8. In effect, it's 2 gearboxes in one. It offers you a 6-speed manual mode and an electronically controlled continuously variable transmission, all in one transmission. Normally it's an automatic. An exceptionally capable one, moving seamlessly through everyday traffic with clever everyday features such as downhill recognition to provide engine braking, especially useful when touring. I can't wait to feel what this is like, particularly like the engine braking. That is something that I've never experienced in any automatic. As a nature of automatic gearboxes, they don't have engine braking, so you are putting your foot on the brake quite a lot. So that'll be quite interesting. It glides through smoothly through the most appropriate ratio for the most appropriate driving condition. But simply by slipping the gear lever to one side, you take control. Now you can manually tap between 6 forward ratios. Just choose when you shift down for swift acceleration. This is an interesting. An automatic transmission with an occasional manual mode. Or is it the other way around? With step speed, you have the choice. That's actually quite interesting. That fits nicer than mine. Mine's just popping out. That's the saloon. It's got blooming washers and fog lamps. Hey, here's my car at last, the hatchback. Truncated, but I quite like it. Again, on the Mark II, you get these trims, body coloured trims. I quite like it. You ain't got your parking sensors. Really nice, really nice. Safety. Apparently these are really good with safety, and as standard you get anti-lock brakes, electronic force brake distribution. That's very handy to know. Visibility is always clear thanks to those quad headlamps on many models. Front fog lamps. No, not on saloons. Saloons also come with high pressure headlamp washers, but if the worst happens, you can count on the driver, passenger and front passenger large capacity airbags, plus side impact airbags in the front seats to provide excellent all-round protection. The saloon models feature 3-point seatbelts in all 5 seating positions. I've noticed on mine actually, it's a lap belt for the middle belt on these. That's interesting. I don't know why they thought about that. I didn't think about that on the hatchbacks. Maybe it's another reason to buy the saloon over the hatch. Maybe. Now apparently it signifies while you're away from the car, we've also made sure the 45 has protection it needs to survive on the meanest of streets. This is quite interesting. Security. Now we are talking about the new Petron system, which actually is Fatcham Cat 1 rated. Was it category Fatch? Yeah, Fatcham category 1 engine immobilizer. That is the Petron unit. Yep, you've got a parametric alarm, volumetric alarms that detect unwanted intrusions. Also, even if you forget to lock your doors, it operates automatically to disable the engine until you insert the key in the ignition or use your remote control. That is something I have discovered. It literally does it within 30 seconds. So if I just open the car, whatever, put the keys in, turn the immobilizer off because it's annoying me and beeping at me, but then I don't start the engine and do something else and I go away, it will basically come back on and it will beep at me if I try and turn the key again. You've got a panic alarm function, which I've discovered it's a really good feature, that is, with the master lock-in switch. Boot and tailgate can be operated by remote control. Yep, definitely. But no key in the boot. They got rid of the key lock going into the boot. And I believe these seats were a feature from 2003. They're not as comfy as the earlier Rover 75 seats that they put in the early 45s, but they're not too bad. In fact, I'd argue they're more comfortable than Ford seats. Yeah, we've got lots of themes: light oak, black oak, dual tone or ash faces. I've never actually seen a 45 Mark II with actually a dual tone interior. I've only seen them with the ash or the walnut, or I think there was another one actually, or light oak. Yeah, the upholstery is colour keyed in light smokestone or ash to complement the exterior paint finish and fascia style chosen. Well, it says ample legroom all round allows passengers to travel in comfort. I'm afraid Rover 45s are not known for ample legroom. They're not bad, but they're not the best. Oh, and on the saloon models, you have the added indulgence of heated front seats. I thought so. Yeah, very comfy indeed. He's gone for the black ash. There's not a lot of room. Get a lap belt. Oh no! This is the saloon. You got your speakers in the actual. You know, that's not actually a partial shelf, is it? But that's a 3-point harness. Yeah, you're getting master lock switches. You get a clock, which basically breaks, and the traffic master system doesn't work. And you get a Pagani Zonda climate control system. This was actually brand new to this actually, the Rover 45. This was not on the previous Mark 1. And it is a delightful system as far as I've worked out so far. Yep, brilliant. Well, apparently, the optional navigation system leads you to your destination using GPS satellite signals and a combination of spoken directions and clear graphic display. That's the Traffic Master system. How interesting. Oh, okay. This is yeah, this is different. We've got the walnut going on, but we've got this going on, and obviously we've got the... I don't like these cloth seats. I think they look cheap and tacky. I know it's the same actual seat frame, and they're exactly the same seats underneath, but the leather just takes the edge away. I think leathers and Rovers just go together, and if it's not leather, it just looks... Ugh. No, not for me. But that steering wheel, whoever came up with that idea, I think that looks really cheap and tacky. It looks like someone's modified it. That's what people do when they're modifying cars. They start messing about with colour combinations. And to be fair, they're trying to match the rings on the heater pods. That is, I believe, the light ash finish. It's not the walnut finish that I have, but it looks quite nice, actually, to be fair. I like this, that the actual colour is quite white and quite fresh and clean. And they've applied the same to the door cards. I don't actually think it looks that bad. But no, don't do it on the steering wheel. And obviously you've got the circular vents that look exactly the same from Audi TTs. And now I believe that they are made by a completely different manufacturer. But it's almost exactly the same design. But I'm pretty sure the manufacturer of the Audi TT ones make them correctly because they don't break. But Rover, they had a few pounds less. So they had to go and find a manufacturer that would basically copy the vents but make them cheaper. So they break. Yeah, these radios also break as well. We won't go into that because they're just rubbish. And, oh yes, something that I will not have in my car because it's not a saloon. Aha! Now this is where Andrew learns something. So, Dover White. Yeah, I've seen some Rover 25s in that colour. That's a nice colour, royal blue. I believe that, yeah, I've seen that a few times, and I love the fact that you've got the chrome surround. That looks as nice on it as well. Tempest Grey, that's the colour. Tempest Grey. What a really nice colour. Now, look, don't get me wrong, blacks and whites and greys, they're all over the place today. We don't like colours like... Well, we don't like colours like that. Or that, and definitely not that. I mean, who's going to drive one of them apart from if you're, you know, retired? And then Black Pearl. That's a nice colour as well. I'm just a person for blacks. Rio Red. I don't know if I've seen one in that colour. Now, this is a rarity. I have not seen a Rover 45 Mark II in British Racing Green ever. And yet it's such a, just a classic colour. Mine is obviously Starlight Silver, and there was quite a few of them in that colour. Although not as common as what I thought, actually. Provenance Blue. Bit of a weird colour, to be honest with you. I suspect that wasn't very popular, and it's, you either love it or hate it. Platinum Gold. Pearlescent. Not sure about that one. Midnight Blue. Yeah, classic Rover colour from the 90s. Yeah, I've seen a few in that colour. Ski Blue. I'm not so sure about that one, but I could see how that could be quite a nice colour. Oh, well, I think we've come to the best colour of the lot. Fire Frost. Fire Frost Red. What an unbelievable colour that is. Classic Rover colour. Absolutely 100%. It'd either be... I like the fact that mine's Starlight Silver. I wanted a silver one because I think it suits the car. I think it suits the shape of the car. but that is just classic, and you just cannot not like it. Sonic Blue. Yeah, I've seen a few in Sonic Blue, and to be fair, I think they look quite nice too. It's difficult to say which one's which, but I'm surprised I've not seen more of them on the block. Now we have the choice of colours. Now, there's one way I can make this very simple. All ash with black oak inserts. So again, you know, black oak everywhere. Quite plain, quite modern, and quite a few people bought this combination. I've seen so many of them have actually got this interior. And I can understand why, and I think it was Rover's attempt to make them look and feel a bit more modern, a little bit like less old grandad pipes and slippers. But if you are a grandad with pipes and slippers, you could just go for this, which is what my car got. All ash with burnt walnut insert, the classic Rover look, and I love it. I really am glad that mine has this interior. All ash with light oak insert. I'm not so keen on this. I don't like the light oak. I think it's, you either love the light oak or you don't. I've seen less of it with this. That's the most popular. That's the second most popular. That I've seen far less of. So actually, in order 1, 2, and 3. Down below, we've got the duotone. Ash with light smokestone with black oak insert. Again, I'm not so sure. I haven't seen any with a duotone and duotone. Get it right, Andrew. Again, duotone ash with light smokestone. So you get the black and then you get the ash. It's like, I don't know. I prefer that one over that one. So basically, they line up. So you got the duotone of that one, and then obviously you got the light ash duotone of that one. I just, no, it just doesn't do it for me. There's too many colours going on for me. It just looks a bit all over the place, but each to their own. Yeah, I mean, I just don't like, I just prefer the leather. I just prefer the leather. That looks a bit granddaddy, but again, you know, it's leather. Black Tuscany. I don't like any of them. Again, this is where it gets a bit complicated. So, you got your classic SE, club SE, connoisseur. And this just shows you what sort of colours you could actually get. So, mine, being a connoisseur, you could get quite a few combinations. But in terms of colours, you could get pretty much every colour actually. It wasn't really limited in this respect. Oh, the radio section. Yes. Now, I've been told the original head units for these cars are particularly bad, which is possibly why mine, that used to have a CD change in the boot, that was thrown out with the coaxial cable chopped and that radio thrown in the bin. Whatever radio it is, I have no idea what the original radio would have been for my car, but you got these choices. You got a standard CR80, you got a CD tuner CD80, then you got an MP3 tuner, which was more for like, I think it was, you could actually use this with amplifiers and DVD places. There was a lot more stuff you could add to this. And the Becker Traffic Pro, which is an optional GPS satellite navigation unit. Now, this is at a time, 2004, where radio started to get clever and incorporate some of the GPS stuff, the more expensive radios. I mean, GPS was just really, really new and really basic at this time. I mean, tom-toms were just about starting to come out. And this is at a time where things were starting to get more complicated. I'm not going to actually rule out the fact that I am going to put the Bluetooth radio that I've got in my 45 because I like Bluetooth radio and it looks retro and it looks really nice. But if I come across an original radio, particularly like a Becker Traffic Pro, and I think there's a few more on another page, I will 100% grab it if it's at the right price and I can win a bid. If it's working and I know it will fit a 45 because it's designed for that. I would really fancy fitting one of these units just for the purity of originality. And you've got your key standard features over here. Your classic, you've got pretty much everything. And then the classic SE, which was above it. You could only get the 1.4 engine on the classic, both classic models. You get the Traffic Master, your electric sunroof, parking sensors. So you didn't even get the parking sensors on the classic. I mean, to be fair, I've not seen many of the classic spec. I really haven't. I think most people wouldn't have bought that whatsoever. Club, middle of the range. You got the 1416 petrol engines and the 2-litre diesel, 101 brake horsepower. And you got quite a few things added on. The 4-door models, again, fog lights, power wash, heated front seats. Is that the only way they could get people to buy the saloon cars? By adding a few bits and pieces and just saying, oh, you get a bigger boot? I mean, really, honestly, there's not much going for the saloon if that's the case. But the Connoisseur, I mean, the Club SC, you could have the automatic option on that, and the Connoisseur the same. And you could get the 113 horsepower L-Series diesel engine. Quite interesting again. Again, you can only get things like on the Connoisseur, which is what I've got. So interestingly, leather seat facings, chrome door mirrors, the 16-inch 9-spoke alloy wheels, which is what I've got, with security wheel nuts, which I've still got, amazingly. I may not have them for too much longer because I don't like locking nuts, to be fair. I just think they're going to shear. CD auto changer with a radio cassette. With radio cassette. What does that mean? ILO CD tuner. I don't know what that means. Somebody's made a typo there. And obviously the same for the saloon. The same options. Interesting. Well, I definitely don't have the CD auto changer no more. It's a shame that I don't, because actually they're quite hard to get hold of, and I like originality. And I've just got a big metal plate in the boot where there's nothing attached. But to be honest with you, it's had its day. And CD auto changes. Again, you know, if I see one, then I might grab it. But, you know, I want the car to be usable. Yeah, you got these transmissions, you got the comfort levels. As I say, I've not seen many classic SEs. It's more Club SE, Connoisseur. They're just very popular things. And you've got a load of options. Serpent wheels, are they? Boot cubbies, heated seats, parking sensors. You don't get them on all the models. I mean, the classic, you got the full-size spare wheel. The options, you get a full-size spare wheel CD tuner. So that's why I've probably got a full-size spare wheel. Space saver spare wheel. That was an option on the Connoisseur. Maybe it was standard on the Connoisseur to have a full-size spare. Yeah. Sports style pack. Not really much to say, really. And obviously, we have one thing. The monogram. Now, I would love to actually see a monogram in the flesh, because even at the Pride of Longbridge, I think I might have missed one. I've never seen a monogram 45 Mark II, but I've seen monogram 75s. And please, will somebody again tell me, if you have an accident to one of your panels, do you have to respray the whole car? I don't know how the monogram paint is supposed to work as such when you can't blend it in, essentially. Is that how it works? You can't blend it in. You have to do the whole car. And again, we've got extra accessories. These are the things that I'm talking about. Now, if I can get hold of any of these. So this is a blank point travel pilot. Again, very well-known maker of aftermarket radios. That looks smack on 2004. I love that little button, that button there. That looks really cool. And then you've got satellite navigation. Wow, that is basic stuff. And then you've got this Sony CDX550 MP3. It's quite nice as well. Blank put Daytona MP353. That looks just as nice as that. That looks even better with that button. It's got a blue centre on it as well. Oh no, hold on. It's blue over there as well. I'm blind. I like that. But then, I think I'd like that. Yeah, it's whatever comes up. Technical specifications. Oh, here we go, Andrew. We're in. 1.8 maximum power, 117 at 55. Well, I'll tell you what, that's way more than an equivalent Ford Sigma. Ford Zetec engine, I should say. I mean, to be fair, the Ford Zetec 1.6, which is a brilliant engine, 109 this. Again, it produces more torque and more power. And people say that the K series is just a rubbish engine. I don't know what they're talking about, to be honest with you. I've yet to drive mine properly, and I really can't wait. The turbo diesels produce ridiculous amounts of torque, but you'd expect that. So the difference between the two is 12 horsepower and 20 more newton meters of torque. How interesting! And the engine data. So yeah, it's exactly the same as above, actually, to be fair. So there's no difference between the two. Right, this is where I get a bit wrong. I can't identify one wheel from the next. So you get your spare 14-inch wheel trims. Not seen many with them. Your turbine wheels, I've seen plenty with them. They're quite nice, but I don't know. Too many spokes, hard to clean. Fission, I don't like them. Looks like a mini light wheel, but slightly redesigned. Serpent wheels, they're very nice. It's a Rover 45 thing throughout the years. Hairpins, nice wheel. Again, very nice. But this is the nicest one, personally. I think it suits the car. Low profile. 25, 45, 16s might be a difficult one to get without spending about £90 a corner. You got all these specifications up here. The automatic model, God, 114 miles per hour maximum speed. 10.3 seconds to 0 to 60. Now the fuel economy is quite interesting actually on the automatic, because urban 23, extra urban 43, but combined is what you need to look at. I really look at combined because you do a bit of both. 33. Well, I can tell you what, for 1.8 automatic, that CVT is pretty. It's not going to go through the jungle juice that quickly. I've very rarely have I driven an automatic with less. I think they've all drank the fuel way more than that. I think like 25 is the given rate. Oh God, that is going to be a killer for me with the tax though. 203. That's going to put it in a really high tax band. Very nice indeed. Got all the technical space. I'm going to go through this in more detail, but very interesting. Interestingly, 1.8 CVT. Unladen weight minimum 1150. But maximum is 1240. That's quite a light car for its size and considering the gearbox. Let's have a look at the manual. So the manual is about 25 grams. Yeah, 25 kilograms less. That's nothing. Absolutely nothing. You got Rover. You did their own insurance. They did a lot. MG Rovers. They did a lot to get these cars sold and out the door. Lovely. I think I need to have a look at the spec sheets at the back to see exactly what could have been obtained. But I think realistically, I've never seen a classic, the spec classic level. I think that was an earlier Mark 1 45 thing. I've seen more examples of them as a classic spec than the later ones. I've barely seen one. I think it was almost a given that a customer would come in and they would immediately try and push them towards at least the club models straight away and then go from there. Unless the customer was really penny pinching and they just didn't want to pay the cost, so they basically had to force them down to buy a classic instead. But you know, Project Drive took away so many things, and I think it got to the point, and I will do a video more specifically on what they changed on the Rover 45 as time went on. But it probably got to the point where an owner, let's say with a W Reg Rover 45, they come into the showroom and say, look, my car's, let's say it's 2005, January 2005. Oh, a customer comes in with his W Reg Rover 45 with his Rover 75 leather seats and all really nice and illuminated ignition bells and all that. And he comes in and he says, right, I like the new version of the Rover 45. I quite like the new look. And basically he'd get in and think, this is not as good as the one I've got. It's missing a lot of things. And Rover thought they could get away by deleting things that the customer may not notice. But the customers did notice. And it was to the point where the car that he was sitting in is just one, has less features than the one he's got. The quality, you can tell. The plastics are not right. Honestly, the trim was a bit rattly. You can just tell by looking and feeling that the car is just not as well built as the car he had. And that was the problem. How can you convince customers to upgrade to the next car when the new car is actually worse than the old? It's as simple as that. Obviously, there were a few things that made it probably a bit more attractive. The new look at the front with the headlamps, the ultrasonic parking sensors. The Petron system would have been a really good seller. And ignore the fact that time has shown that they are faulty units. And to be fair, they can be made good with new relays. But as a system, it was brilliant. I think it was very well thought out and it did sell the cars quite nicely. But otherwise, I don't know why you would opt to buy a Mark II Rover 45 if you have a 5-year-old W-Reg Rover 45. And that, I think, was one of the main problems. They just couldn't get people buying them. And that is simply why any owner like myself who has a Rover 45 Mark II facelift, I'll tell you, they only made them for 12 months. They didn't sell many because pretty much people knew where the company was going. It was a worse car than their previous offerings. And today, with numbers plummeting, and they continue to plummet, because even the Rover community, even people in the Rover community who are die-hard Rover enthusiasts through and through, have had God knows how many cars. They won't touch them. They won't touch them. They'd rather have an earlier version and know their car is going to work and it's going to have the build quality and the features that you want in a Rover. End of. Which means today, it is just one heck of a rare car. And if you've got one, keep hold of it. Because I can say now, going in a few months' time, the Pride of Longbridge is going to come round. And I will get to see some absolutely beautiful examples. And just be reminded of the care and love that people have for these cars. Despite the shortcomings of the later ones. And I think they will be one heck of a modern collector's item in the future if they are looked after. And that is all I have to say. Good night all.